Hey, hi everyone, welcome to Practically. So today we are going to start the sample paper 2. We have already completed the sample paper 1 of science. Remember the schedule, okay? So I'll wait for a few minutes also. Until then I'll just continue with the schedule. So we have already covered the first sample paper yesterday. Fine. Now what we are going to do is we are going to cover the sample paper 2 of science. And this is going to be a very, dedicated paper, or the pattern will be exactly the same. So the pattern in this is simple. There are 15 questions, 5 each of physics, chemistry and biology. So I'm taking physics as of now. There are subsections, there are 2 case-based questions. These are 4 marks each. Remember, these case-based questions have 4 parts. So each part is 1 mark. The total number then becomes 4 marks. Now we are starting with the physics for the first thing, and I'll wait for like 1 minute or so. Also, we are going to start the math from tomorrow. So there will be 2 math papers, math sample paper 1 and the math sample paper 2. So these papers are very much aligned to what CBSE looks like. Okay, aligned to CBSE. Okay, so we are going to start with the sample paper 1 now. Sorry, sample paper 2 now. The part 1, which is physics. Okay, so let's read the question. It says, what is meant by, it's saying, what is meant by electric current? Okay, name and define its SI unit. It's a very simple question. Electric current is nothing but the rate of flow of charge, or given by Q by T. Electric current is nothing but the rate of flow of charge. How much charge is being flowing through a wire in 1 second or in a certain time period. Now name and define its SI unit is ampere, and 1 ampere is nothing but when 1 coulomb of charge flows for a duration of 1 second, then we call that the current that is flowing is 1 ampere and the SI unit is 1 ampere. Now the question is, in a conductor electrons are flowing from B to A. So let's consider that this is my conductor wire, can be a copper wire or something. The electrons are flowing from this. So the electrons are flowing from B to A. What is the direction of the conventional current? Very easy question. The conventional current is taken in the opposite direction of the flow of electrons. So the conventional current will flow from A to B. So the current will flow from A to B. Okay. Give justification. I just gave you the same thing. Next question. Okay. It says a steady current of 1 ampere flows through a conductor. Right. Calculate the number of electrons that flows through any section of the conductor in 1 second. Now we know the charge. So we know that I current is Q by T. Rate of flow of charge is nothing but the current. Now it is saying that the current is 1 ampere. And we are talking about the charge in an electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. And the time is 1 second. Right? So we are talking about how the number of electrons. Now remember one very important point, okay? This is something you should always remember. The total charge is nothing but Ne, where N is the number of electrons and E is the charge on 1 electron. That's the total number that's the total charge Q. Now let's understand the question again. The question is saying, calculate the number of electrons when the charge in electron is given. So what you have given is E, the electronic charge. Remember, Q is equal to Ne. You should remember always. So Q is the total. So 1 electron flows, then it is okay. Then it is just 1 coulomb and all. But there are how many electrons are flowing? 1 electron has how much charge? And let's say there are n number of electrons are flowing. So the total charge will be nothing. Hey Vinod, hi. So the total charge will be nothing but it will be the multiplication of the number of electrons with the charge on 1 electron. That will be the total charge. Of course, it's so common. That's why I just write down that Ne. Now this means that I will write N times the charge on 1 electron, which is nothing but 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Now I have to find N. Remember that N is 1 upon 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. Okay, all the units have balanced because current is in 1 ampere. Ampere is coulomb by second. This coulomb will cancel the unit on coulomb. There is no unit cancellation. It's just that you understand everything is gone. Good, Samya. So what it will be now? Okay, Ashray, I forgot. You're using another name. So 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 is nothing but 10 to the power 19 divided by 1.6. To simplify this, okay, let me see if there is a space there. No. So there is no space there. So I'll solve it here. 1.6 is in the denominator, 10 to the power 19 is in the numerator. This simply means I can write this as 100 times 10 to the power 17 by 16 into 10. So I just made it in such a way so I can cancel everything, nothing else. Okay. So now I have got 4 4s are 16, 4 25 is 100, 2 2s are 4, 2 5s are 10. Right? Right? So now what you happen is see, 5 and 25 is 125, divide by 2 into 10 to the power 17. Right? So 125 into, I can just divide it, it will be 62.5. Now we generally don't write in the scientific notation like this. When we write the scientific notation, we keep only this thing. So we have to shift the decimal. So this will be 6.25 10 to the power 18 because I'm shifting towards the left. Right? Apply your brain also. It will be the same thing. 625 by 10. So this is 6.25 by what? 100? Sorry, by 1. So which will be 10 to the power 18 here. Fine. So this is what the answer came out to be. Okay, let's move to the next one. State Ohm's law, super easy. All of you know it, so I don't have to state it. What will be the nature of the graph between the potential difference and the current? So I versus V graph. For a current, for a conductor, and if it follows Ohm's law, it's a straight line. Okay? It's a straight line. It's not a curve because it's a conductor. For non-ohmic conductor, it's a curve, right? And Ohm's law definition, everyone knows that whenever there is a voltage across a conductor, directly proportional. So I is directly proportional to V. This is what it is, right? And this is a constant. This is a constant which is nothing but the resistance of that wire. Okay. Remember that physical conditions and temperature should remain constant because the simple reason, beta, that the temperature changes the value of alpha, which is the temperature coefficient, which change the value of rho, which is your specific resistance, and we know that R is nothing but rho L by A. Now since the rho or the specific resistance of a wire depends on the temperature, and hence it will changing the resistance. Therefore temperature should remain constant. This is a very important line you should mention when you are writing the Ohm's law. Otherwise it's very simple to state, okay, that the current is directly proportional to the potential applied. Okay, fine. Now, out of the two wires X and Y, let's go to the next one. Out of the two wires X and Y shown below, which one has greater resistance? Apply your simple brain. R is nothing but rho L by A. If the wire is not changing in the material, if the wire is not changing, then rho will remain constant because it depends on the type of the material of the wire and not upon the length of the area. It does not. It depends on the type of the material. Now the material hasn't changed. Simple. So does the length has increased? Yes, the length has increased. Has the area changed? No. I still see the two wires have the similar area. Only one of the wire is longer, double. So the resistance of this wire will be 2 times of the resistance of the first wire. So the resistance of the second wire is nothing but 2 times because the resistance has doubled because of the length becoming double. Okay. So what do you say which has greater resistance? The wire Y. So the resistance of wire Y is double of the resistance of the wire X, and hence we say that that the resistance is increased because you increase in the length of the wire. Of course, because there is a more length to be covered by the electron motion. Okay. Next. Now AB is a current carrying conductor. Let's read this question. Very good, Samya. So AB is a current carrying conductor in the plane of the paper as shown. What are the directions of the magnetic field produced by it at points P and Q? Simple. There are two rules that you remember. Right hand, you remember this right hand thumb rule. There is also called right hand palm rule number 1. It simply says that if I hold the wire in such a way that my thumb is in the direction of the flow of the current, then the perpendicular to your palm will tell you to the direction of the magnetic field, and the fingers is the point at which you are finding the magnetic field. This is a different one you must not have been taught before. If I'm finding the magnetic field at the point P, P is towards this side. Okay, sorry. Sorry. So P is towards this side. So my fingers will be towards this side. The wire is having current in the upward direction. My thumb will be in the upward direction. Now my palm, perpendicular to my palm, this will be going inside, and therefore we will say generally the inside field is marked by a cross. The inside to the plane of the paper is marked by a cross. This is the direction of the magnetic field at the point P. Magnetic field is denoted by the symbol B vector in general B. So the magnetic field is going inside. If you do not understand this one, understand the normal one that you know. Right hand thumb rule, which says hold the wire in such a way that it is like this. Now since you are finding it here, feel as if the curl is happening like this. So it is going inside here. Because my fingers are curving like this, they are going inside. So at P it is going inside, while at Q the fingers are going to move like outside. So Q we will say like this. So this is the point. If our circle with a dot is shown, the field is coming outside of this paper. If the circle with a cross is shown, the field is going inside of the paper. So now we are saying this is the B at point Q. Basically point Q, it is coming outside, and you can also feel the same when you are holding the wire in your hand. These fingers are moving out of this page, out of this screen, whatever you call it, and therefore this is our outward field direction. Now given R1 is greater than R2, what will be the strength of the magnetic field? Where actually it will be larger? Simple application. The farther the distance of the point is from the current carrying wire, the weaker the field is. Since the radius or the distance of this point P is more than the point Q, therefore the field will be larger at point Q because it is at a shorter distance. The higher the distance, the lower the value of the field. This is a simple rule of magnetic field. The closer you are to the magnet, higher. The farther it is lower. So when I'm moving very away from the wire, the field is dropping. So at Q, I'm closer to the wire, and therefore the field is high, or the field is large compared to the point Q. Okay, let's go to the next one. How is the strength of magnetic field near a straight current carrying conductor related to the strength of the current? The higher the current flowing in a wire, the stronger the magnetic field produced. So it is directly proportional. So the more the strength of the current, the higher the strength of the magnetic field. Okay. Now, how it is affected by changing the direction of flow of current. If the wire is having a current in the upward direction, the magnetic field is like this. But if the wire is having a current in the downward direction, the magnetic field is like this. So the direction of the magnetic field flips or reverses due to the change in the direction of the current flowing through the wire. Just remember this one, okay? So the wire, if it is having this, the field is around this. But if the wire is having current this, then the field, since it is down, is around this. So it changes, okay? It changes. Fine. So we are going to start chemistry now. Samya, Ashray. Okay. Anything, this is the last sample paper we are doing. We have done for Hindi. This is the last one we are doing for English version. And then there will be some small doubts videos or some concept videos on demand. So if you have anything, please do mention them in the comment box. Those are the only thing we are going to do. Okay. And in the last, we'll do one more thing. Fine. The last 50 most important question set. Okay. Okay. I'll give the mic to Tanvi ma'am, and so that she can continue with chemistry.
Hey everyone, so let's start the chemistry section, and we have completed the physics section and we are going to complete our sample papers, and I hope it will be very helpful for your term 2 board exams. And let's start the chemistry thing. Okay, so first question is, sodium, magnesium and aluminum are the elements having 1, 2 and 3 valence electron respectively. Now I want you to write it in the comment box, whatever the answers are there. So write it in the comment box so that I got to know you are preparing very well for your term 2 exams. So sodium, magnesium and aluminum are the element having 1, 2 and 3 valence electron. That's correct. So 1 valence electron for magnesium, 2 valence electron for aluminum, 3 valence electron. Now, which of these elements has the largest atomic size and is the least reactive? Justify your answer, static reason for each. So, hi, good evening Vinod, not Ashray. Okay, so has the largest atomic size. For largest atomic size, if you see, they are lying on the same period. Sodium, magnesium, aluminum. They belongs to the which period? Third period. They all belong to the third period. These are third period elements. Now, we know that whenever we move across the periodic table from left to right, then the size decreases. Why the size decreases? Because there is the high nuclear effective charge. If nuclear charge is high, then the size will go on decreasing. So, sodium is having the largest atomic size, which is least reactive. If it is having 1 valence electron, it is having 2 valence electron and it is having 3 valence electron. So, which can easily lose the electron. So, sodium can easily lose the electron because it is having only 1 valence electron. That's why it is reactive. So, how we can determine the reactivity? If it can easily lose or gain the electron, it is the most reactive thing. Okay. So, sodium here having only 1 valence electron. So, it can easily lose the electron and become stable. So, that's why sodium is most reactive here. And we need to find the least reactive. So, least reactive will be your aluminum because it is having 3 valence electron. So, it need to lose 3 electron. So, we need to provide high amount of energy. So, it can lose the electron. So, that's why it is a least reactive element. Okay. So, reasons we need to state that. So, we have written the reason, least effective nuclear charge. That's why sodium has the largest atomic radius. Aluminum is least reactive because it has small atomic size due to the 13 protons and 13 electrons. It has greater effective nuclear charge, therefore cannot lose electron easily, hence it is least reactive. So, why it is least reactive? Because it can't lose the electron very easily as compared to your sodium. Next, two elements M and N belong to group first and second. Okay, so group first, group second. Now, M belongs to group first and N belongs to group second, and are in the same period of the periodic table. That means the period is same. That means the number of shells are same. Now, how do the following properties of M and N vary? First, size of their atoms. First of all, if I compare the size, so we are moving from left to right across the period. So, M will be having greater size as compared to N. Why? Because the increase in nuclear effective charge. So, N will be having lesser size, atomic size than your M. So, size of their atom, M is greater in size as compared to N. Their metallic character. So, if it is lying in the group 1, it will have 1 valence electron, it will have 2 valence electron. So, that means this M can easily give its 1 electron, so it will be more metallic. Okay, so whenever we are moving across a period, metallic character decreases and non-metallic character increases. So, whenever we are moving across a period, the metallic character decreases. So, M will be having more metallic character than your N. Their valency in forming oxide. So, here the valency is what? The valency is 1 because it is lying in the group 1. In group 1, all the elements which are lying in group 1, they will be having 1 valency. If I talk about group 2 element, then they will be having 2 valency. So, their valency is 1 and 2. So, what will be their oxide? What will be their oxide? For M, the valency is 1. For oxygen, the valency is 2. Cross multiply it, you will get M2O. For your N, N oxygen. For the valency N is 2, oxygen is 2. Just cross multiply it, you will get N2O2. That means NO. Simple. So these are the formula of their oxide. I hope it is visible. Next, molecular formula of their chloride. What will be the molecular formula of their chloride? Simple. So for M, the valency will be 1. For chloride, the valency is also 1. So cross multiply it, you will get MCl. For N and Cl, valency of N is 2. For Cl1, cross multiply it, you will get NCl2. So these are the formula of their chloride. This is how you need to answer. So you need to remember what are the trends which are followed in the modern periodic table. So whenever you are moving across the period, the atomic size decreases due to the increase in the effective nuclear charge. Metallic character decreases and non-metallic character increases. So these are the answers. So you can see that M and N belong to the same period but group 1. So N will be smaller than M as atomic size goes on decreasing from left to right whenever we are moving across a period. Next, their metallic character, M is more metallic than N. Metallic character goes on decreasing from left to right and non-metallic character increases. Okay. Their valency, so valency will be M1 and 2 and oxide will be, I have told you, M2O and NO. Now next thing is molecular formula of their chloride, MCl and NCl2. I hope it is understandable. Next, what is meant by functional group in an organic compound? Name the functional group present in it. Do you know what is functional group? Functional group is a group of atom which is having the same chemical property. So for here, the function in this first thing, the functional group is OH. What is this called? Alcoholic group. This is what? This is carboxylic group. So here OH is your alcohol. This is carboxylic. So if you see that, what is functional group? Functional group is an atom or a group of atom or reactive part of compound which determines chemical property. If there are many let's say if I am taking CH3OH, this is methanol, this is ethanol. So here both are having OH group, OH functional group. So they both are having same chemical properties. So the chemical properties are determined by the functional group. Remember this thing. Next, define homologous series of organic compound. Lists its two characteristics. Write the name and formula of the first member of series of alkane. So what is a homologous series? Homologous series having the same functional group. It is differ by the, if I take two adjacent members of the series, then it will be differ by the CH2 group. It will be having 14U, or you can say differ by mass of 14U, mass of 14U. So here, what is homologous series? Which is having same functional group and differ by CH2 group, and or you can say differ by the mass of 14U. Now list to its characteristic. So if you see that it has same general formula from which all members can be derived. So if I talk about alkane, then they will be having only single bond element, and if I talk about alkene, then all will be having double bond. If I talk about alcoholic series, then they will be having all same OH group, that is all OH functional group. They have similar chemical properties because the functional group remains the same. So chemical properties are determined by the functional group. I am repeating it again and again. So remember this thing. Now write the name and formula of the first member of series of alkene. So the first member of series of alkene, that is your ethene, not methene. Methene is not there. Why? Because covalent compound. If I talk about this alkene, then what is alkene? When you are having two carbon and they are forming double bond with each other. So there should be minimum 2 carbon to form the double bond. So that's why methane should be not there. The first member of alkene series is ethene. Same for alkyne series. The first member of alkyne series is ethyne. Okay, remember this thing. Now, atoms of 8 element A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now, listen this very carefully. So, we are having 8 element A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now, have the same number of electronic shells but different number of electrons. That means they all lie in the same period. They all lie in the same period because it is written over there. They have the same number of electronic shells. That means they are having the same number of shells. That's why they belong to the same period. Now, different number of electron in the outermost shell. But their number of electron, that means the valence electrons are different. It was found that element A and G combine to form ionic compound. So, A and G are forming ionic compound. So, how ionic compounds are formed? One should be metal and another should be non-metal. So, A and G, one should be your metal and another will be your non-metal. This compound is added in small amount to all vegetable dishes during cooking. So, remember this. What is that? NaCl, sodium chloride, common salt, which is used in the cooking. So, Ag is what your NaCl. Here it is a ionic compound. Na is your metal, Cl is your non-metal. That's why they are forming ionic compound. Oxide of element A and B are basic in nature. So, A will be what? A will be your metal. Now, A and B both should be metal. That's why their oxides are basic in nature. Okay, oxide of metals are basic in nature, oxides of non-metal are acidic in nature. Remember this thing. Now, while those E and F are acidic, so E and F are acidic, that means they are what? They are non-metals. They are non-metals. The oxide of D is almost neutral. Okay, oxide of D is neutral. Based on the above information, answer the following question. This is a 4-mark question. Remember, this is a 4-mark question and very interesting and brainstorming question it is. So, the first thing, to which group or period of the periodic table do the listed elements belong? Can you identify which group or period they will belong? So, first of all, if I talk about A and B, I got to know that Ag is what? NaCl, sodium chloride. That means it belongs to which period? If I talk about A, then A is sodium. Sodium belongs to which period? So here there are 2, 8, 1. That means it belongs to the 3rd period. Which group? Group first. So it belongs to group first and 3rd period. So now you need to list all the elements. So here if I talk about G, so G will be what? Chlorine. For chlorine, the atomic number is 17. So the electronic arrangement will be 2, 8, 7. Now it belongs to the 3rd period and 17th group. Okay. Now you can relate. First of all, just look at this. B is also a metal. B is also a metal. So it is written over there. Oxide of element A and B are basic in nature. Now what else is written over there? Same number of electronic shells. That means they all are belonging to which period? 3rd period. They all belong to the 3rd period. We got to know about the period number. Now let us talk about the group number. Same number of electronic shell but different number of electrons in the outermost shell. So it is having 1 electron in the outermost shell. Okay. It is having 7 electrons in the outermost shell. So it is belonging to the group 1. It is from the group 17. This compound is added in the, or I have left something. It was found that the element A and G combine to form an ionic compound. Okay. They are forming ionic compound because one is metal and another one is non-metal. Now B and F, what is there? Oxides of E and F are acidic in nature. Both are non-metals. So here oxide of metals A and B are basic in nature while those of E and F are acidic. The oxide of D is almost neutral. Based on the above information, answer the following question. So what we need to do? We got to know that they belong to which period? third period. We got to know that they belong to third period because they all are having same electronic shells. That means they are having same number of shells. If something is having same number of shells, that means it belongs to the same period. So they all are belonging to the third period. So A and B belonging to the group 1 and group 2 because they are forming basic oxide. C belongs to group 13 as it has 3 valence electron. D belongs to group 14 as it form almost neutral oxide. So neutral oxides are formed by the group 14 elements. E and F belong to the group 15 and 16 as they form the acidic oxide. G belongs to the group 17 as it has 7 valence electron, and H belongs to group 18. So these are all the elements which are arranged in the periodic table. So in our periodic table, all elements are arranged in the increasing order of their atomic number. So we are having 8 elements because we are having 18 groups now. So 8 elements, we are arranged this 8 element from A to G like this. So whenever we are moving, so first group, second group, third group, fourth group, fifth group, sixth group, seventh group and eighth group. So it is G is belonging to the seventh group, H is belonging to the eighth group. They belong to the third period of periodic table because Ag is NaCl added in a small amount to all vegetable dishes during cooking, and NaCl belong to the third period. Okay, so they all belongs to the same period because they are having the same electronic number of shells. What would be the nature of compound formed by a combination of B and F? So B and F. So let us get back to this thing. So B is what? Metal. F is what? Non-metal. So what would be the nature of compound? It is a metal, it is a non-metal. Whenever a metal and a non-metal combine with each other, they will form what? Ionic compound. They will form what? Ionic compound. So whenever there is a bond formation between metal and non-metal, they will form the ionic compound. So ionic compound will be formed between B is metal, F is a non-metal. Which two these elements could definitely be metals? So A and B both are the metals. Okay, so A and B are definitely metal as they are forming basic oxide. Remember, I am repeating again, A and B are both metals. Why? Because metal form oxide which are basic in nature, non-metal form oxide which are acidic in nature. Remember this thing. If the number of electron in the outermost shell of the element C and G be 3 and 7, let's say C and G, it is having 3 valence electron, it is having 7 valence electron. Write the formula of compound forming by the combination of C and G. Now you need to write the molecular formula of this compound. So it is having 3 valence electron. So it can lose 3 electron, that's why the valency should be 3 only. But what about this? It can gain 1 electron and it will become stable. So G will be 1. Now you can cross multiply it, you will get Cg3. So this is how you need to calculate the chemical formula. First of all, write the element, then valencies. How we find the valencies? Here the 3 valence electron are there, so it can easily lose the 3 electron and the valency will be 3. Here the valence electron are 7. So it can gain 1 electron and become stable, so the valency will be 1. So now cross multiply the valency and you will get the molecular formula, that is Cg3. Okay, I hope you got this thing. Now Smithil sir will take over this of biology section, and we are completing this sample paper. I hope it will be very helpful for you, and for just stay tuned with practically because we are coming up with 15 most important questions so that you can prepare well for your term 2 exam. Okay, thank you. Bye Vinod.
Hello everyone. So let's discuss the sample paper questions from the biology section, beginning with the first question. As you can see on the screen, with help of an example, differentiate between the process of budding and fragmentation. So this question has two parts to it. A says, good evening Ashray, welcome in today's session. B part is, why is vegetative propagation practiced for growing some type of plants? So let's see how to answer this question. So here's the difference, the two main differences between budding and fragmentation. So as we know, in budding, the small part of body grows out as a bud, okay, which then detaches and becomes a new organism. So basically, I have to write the definition of process of budding. Whereas in fragmentation, the body breaks, okay. This is an important keyword here. And this is an important keyword here, that it grows out as bud. And here it breaks into one or more small pieces, which then grow into new individuals. So this is the basic difference between budding and fragmentation. Example, you can write, Hydra reproduces with the process of budding using regenerative cells. Hydra is the example here. And it takes place in multicellular organisms with little like the body organization like that of Spirogyra. Spirogyra, we all know, the filamentous green color organism, that is Spirogyra. So this is the difference between budding and fragmentation. 2 points if you write, you will get the full marks for this answer. Moving on to the second part of question, why is vegetative propagation practiced for growing some type of plants? I mean, basically they are asking, what are the advantages of vegetative propagation? So you have to write the advantage of vegetative propagation over here. What are those? So here are some advantages. They have given, we have written almost 5 of them. Depending upon the number of marks, you can write the point. Suppose it is of 2 marks. So you can write either 2 or 4 points to it. If it is more than 2 marks, then you can write more points. Okay. So so in case of vegetative propagation, it eliminates the need of special mechanisms like pollination and fusion of gametes, because this is the speciality of what? The sexual reproduction. As you know, in sexual reproduction, 2 parents are needed, and then the process of gamete transfer is needed. So it is like a little lengthy process that gets reduced if we do vegetative propagation. Then second point, many plants are able to tide over unfavorable conditions because of the presence of vegetative reproductive parts like tubers, corn, buds. Like unfavorable conditions, like in certain situation when there is lack of water or proper nutrients, sexual reproduction is more energy consuming process. So in that case, in vegetative propagation can be easily carried out. So in this way it helps it. Then plants which do not produce seeds can be propagated by this method. Okay, example, sugarcane and potato, they don't produce seeds, right? So the plants which have seeds, you can simply sow the seed and grow them. But sugarcane and potato can be grown with the help of vegetative propagation, and obviously that is more quicker method of growing a new plant. And then vegetative propagation is cheaper, easier and rapid method. These all 3 adjectives which are used, you need to mention them. It is cheaper, easier and rapid method of reproduction. And last point, the trait character of the parent plant is preserved and the offsprings are genetically identical. It's because it's a type of asexual reproduction. We know the speciality of asexual reproduction is the progeny is exact same copy of the parent. So if we want the exact same trait of that of parents, vegetative propagation will help us in that. Because in sexual reproduction, there is combination of characters. Both the traits gets mixed. So the progeny will not have exact same trait of parent, it will have mixture. But if you want exact same like that of parent, vegetative propagation will help out in that. Okay. So this answers our first question. Let's move on to the next question. What is sexual reproduction? Explain how this mode of reproduction gives rise to more viable variations than asexual reproduction, and see how does this affect the evolution. Okay, this question has 3 parts to it. Let's answer one by one. So the first answer to the first part, sexual reproduction is natural mode of reproduction which involves 2 individuals and gamete formation. The basic definition of sexual reproduction we all know, that you have to just mention. And the second part of question was how this mode of reproduction gives rise to more viable variation than asexual. So So we have to write that, you know, in sexual reproduction there is gamete formation, and gametes are formed with the help of meiosis. Okay. So during meiosis, crossing over between fragments of homologous chromosomes occurs, which brings new gene combination. So these words we need to mention. New combinations are formed. So obviously when there are new combinations, then there are more chances of getting variations. Okay. So crossing over is a fundamental cause of origin of variation in sexual reproduction organism. Whereas in asexual reproduction, variations can only occur when there is inaccurate copying of DNA, because there is only one individual involved. So only if there is some mutation or inaccurate copying of DNA, then only variation will be introduced. So obviously the chances of variation are more in sexual reproduction compared to asexual reproduction. Okay. Then variations are caused by the process of crossing over in sexual reproductive organisms, and it involves natural selection. So the third part of question was how it is connected with evolution. Okay. So natural selection, we know the process of natural selection given by Darwin, which selects those variations which have more adaptive value and guide them towards evolution, towards of new species which are more adaptable and more strong to survive. And in this way, sexual reproduction gives rise to more variations for evolution. So sexual reproduction is the one which has played a very important role in the process of evolution. Okay. Moving on to the next question. What is law of dominance of traits? Explain with an example. So this is a question from the part of Mendel's laws of inheritance. You have to directly mention the law, that particular law. And second part of question is, why are the traits acquired during lifetime of an individual not inherited? Explain. Okay, so let's try to answer this question. First part, what is law of dominance? We have to write the exact statement. See, whenever they ask you a statement given by a scientist, we have to be accurate in it. Okay. So it says that when parents having pure contrasting characters are crossed, then only one, this is the very important keyword over here, only one character expresses itself in F1 generation. That is what law of dominance says. Okay, so make sure these words are present in your answer. Then this character is a dominant character, and character which cannot express itself is called recessive character. Simple. Okay. And then you can take an example. Here is a simple example taken of tall and dwarf plant crossed with each other. So when they are crossed, the gametes, there will be only one gamete, one type of gamete produced over here, that is capital T, since it is homozygous dominant. This is homozygous recessive. Again, only one type of gamete will be produced. When they will fuse, it will produce a heterozygous tall plant. When this undergoes selfing, that is when you cross them both together, then as we see, wherever there is capital T, that will be tall. So that is expressing. The small t is not expressing when in presence of capital T. Only when small t come, that expresses itself as recessive, as dwarf. So you can just write this cross as an example to help your answer. Okay, I mean substitute, support your answer, what we have discussed. Okay. Then the second part of the question, characters that a person acquires during one's lifetime are known as acquired characters. Very simple. The English meaning of acquired is to gain. That has been gained throughout the lifespan, not during the birth. Okay. So such changes do not occur in the reproductive tissue. So these changes won't appear in the gametes. And since they won't appear in gametes, when they fuse in the progeny, these characters won't come. That's why they are acquired traits. Okay. So changes in non-reproductive tissues are not passed on to the DNA. Okay. Example, if you color your hair, your progeny won't have those colored hair because this is an acquired trait. During the lifetime, you have acquired it. It won't reflect in your reproductive tissue or in gametes, and hence it won't be passed down to the next generation. Okay. Moving on to the next question. What is DNA copying? State its importance. Let's see what all to answer. So DNA copying is also known as DNA replication, and it is basically producing two identical copies of DNA from the original DNA, and this process occurs during cell division. Okay. So in this, what DNA does is it makes multiple copies of itself, and the entire process takes place with the help of enzymes, and main enzyme is DNA dependent polymerase. This is an extra information over here. What is the importance of it? Replication helps new cells to also get same copy of organism DNA, because when the cell will divide, the daughter cell should also get the same genetic properties. That will only happen if the DNA gets copied properly. So this is how it helps, and DNA is necessary to make all RNA and proteins needed for the cells. So that's why we say DNA is like a code. Okay, it's like a code. Those code what is written, it codes for the necessary RNA and the proteins, and the entire enzymes and hormones of the bodies are nothing but proteins. So all the processes of the body are carried out by this code. So that is what its importance is. Okay. Now moving on to the next question. This is an interesting and important question from our environment. So please pay attention. There is a short numerical also at its end. I want all of you to try solving it as we solve this question. Okay. So let's see. Surface of water in a lake appears green due to a layer of tiny free floating organisms X on its surface. They have not mentioned what is X. Obviously, they are going to ask in the question what is X. The lake water also contains organisms like water beetle, fish, tadpole, etc. The sun shines over the lake water and provides energy for functioning of this lake ecosystem, because you know sun is the ultimate source of energy. Now, here the question list of questions starts. What could organisms X be? You have to identify that. B. Write a food chain comprising of all 4 organisms mentioned. Okay, there are 4 organisms mentioned. We have to give the connection, the food chain between them. Okay, and then name secondary consumer, producer, tertiary consumer, primary consumer in the above food chain. And the end there is a numerical. We'll read the question later. Let's try to answer the first part of question. So the organism X which they have mentioned, that will be phytoplankton. That is basically algae, free floating organisms on surface of water. Then what is a food chain? Basically algae are the primary producers. Those are the chlorophyll containing organisms which trap the energy of the sun and produce food. So they are primary producers which are eaten by tadpole, which are eaten by water beetles, which are eaten by fishes. So fishes are the topmost consumer over here. This is the food chain. Okay. Then aquatic food chain is the name given to, because this is the entire water ecosystem given to the food chain, because this food chain exists in aquatic bodies. Okay. And what are producers? As discussed, algae are producers, tadpoles are primary consumers, water beetles are secondary consumers, and fishes are tertiary consumers. Okay. Then, so that's what mentioned here. Water beetles secondary, algae are producers, fishes are tertiary consumers, tadpoles are primary consumers. This is as per this sequence. Producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. Okay. Now, the next part of the question was a numerical. First, let's read the question. If the tertiary consumer gets 0.2 joule of energy from the secondary consumer, then how much energy was radiated by the sun to the producer? Okay. Now, here is a numerical. Don't get panic. You can easily solve it. Just you need to remember 2 laws over here. One out of that is called 10% law. As per that law, 10% of the energy is passed on from the one tropic level to another tropic level. That is like from producers to primary consumers. So let's draw the sequence. So we have first the producers, right? Above producers we have primary consumers, then we have secondary consumers, and then tertiary consumers. This is the sequence, right? And primary producers receive energy from the sun, right? From the sun. Okay. So now the catch over here is, at every level only 10% of the energy will be transferred to the next tropic level. And there is one more law which you have to remember, that from sun, producers trap only 1% of the energy received from the sun. Okay. This laws we need to know. Now the question has, in question they have asked how much energy was radiated by the sun, means this sun radiated how much energy to the producers. But what information they have given? Tertiary consumer gets 0.2 joule. Tertiary consumer is getting only 0.2 joules of energy. Okay. So we have to apply simple mathematics based on percentage. Okay, how to do that? See, tertiary consumer is getting 0.2 joule. So 0.2 joule is nothing but 10% of the energy received by secondary consumer. So just apply simple mathematics. 0.2 is 10%. 10% is nothing but 10 by 100 of, I'm writing secondary consumers as SC over here. Okay? So secondary consumer, we have to first find out how much secondary consumer is getting energy. That is, will be 0.2 is 10% of the secondary energy, secondary consumers, this thing. So what will, how much secondary consumers will have how much of energy? Apply simple mathematics, it will be 2 joules, right? Secondary consumer will have 2 joules, okay? So basically it is 10 times of that, 10 times of the tertiary. So on the same logic, primary consumer will have how much joule or how much energy? 10 times of this, that will be nothing but 20 joule, right? And the primary producers, the producers will again have 10 times of this, that will be how much? This is 2, sorry. It will be 200 joule, right? So we have just applied 10% law over here from top to bottom. So producers are getting 200 joules of energy. But the question is, how much energy was radiated by sun? So we have to tell how much energy came from sun. That was one. So 200 joule is nothing but 1% of the energy which has come from the sun. So again apply simple mathematics. 200 is 1% of the energy. 1%, this is how you write 1 by 100 of the energy received by sun, right? So how much that will be? How much energy was radiated by sun? That is 20,000 joules, right? This is how you will solve this question. So how much energy was radiated by sun? It is 20,000 joule. Yes, hello Manish. So we are solving this numerical E. So I hope you all understood. We have applied 2 laws over here. One is 10% law and another rule that how much energy sun radiates, only 1% is trapped by producers. Based on that, using simple mathematics and percentage formula, we can get the answer. 20,000 joule of energy was received by sun. So whoever are watching, do you have any doubt in this numerical? Please do ask. But it's a very important numerical. It is expected and it might look little tricky, but it is actually easy. So if you have any doubt, please do ask. If you want me to explain it again or solve it again, please do ask. Please do type in the chat box and we are there to help you out. Okay. Fine then. Let's move ahead with. So I think this was the last question. Yeah. This is what the explanation. 20,000 joule is the answer. Okay. We have already calculated. So now here are some important topics which you should not miss. Okay, thank you TG Thunderstorm. I hope you have understood the numerical. So we have completed the sample paper for today. Here are some important topics which you should not miss from the biology section. From how organisms reproduce, these are the important topics: fission, vegetative propagation, longitudinal section of flower, male and female reproductive system, and contraception. These are the important topics. So while studying, pay special attention to these topics. Then from heredity and evolution, these are the important topics: sex determination in humans, Mendel's laws and monohybrid and dihybrid cross, and inherited and acquired characters. Okay, Thunderstorm, you want explanation? Yeah. Fine, Thunderstorm, I'll explain it once again. Let me complete the important topic. From our environment, biomagnification, ozone and ozone layer, biodegradable, non-biodegradable components, and trophic levels are the important topics. So make sure you pay attention to these topics while preparing for the exam. So yeah, so someone asked me to solve that question again. So let's read the question again. If the tertiary consumer gets 0.2 joule of energy from the secondary consumer, then how much energy was radiated by sun to the producer? Okay, so how to solve this? It's very simple. So we know that this is the trophic level. This is the food chain, like in the direction we should go. First are the primary producers, then we have primary consumers, then secondary consumers, and then tertiary consumers. This is the trophic levels. Okay, this is how it goes, right? Now we know that 10% law. 10% law says that from lower tropic level to the higher tropic level, the amount of energy which is transferred is only 10%. 10% of producer's energy will be transferred to primary, 10% of that to secondary, 10% of that to tertiary. That is 10% law. And there is one more rule which says that only 1% of energy given out by sun is trapped by producers. These both concepts we are going to use in this numerical. So the question, it said that tertiary consumer had 0.2 joule of energy, and they have asked us to find out the energy given out by sun. So we have to get a reverse approach. Okay, so what, according to 10% law, 0.2 joule is nothing but 10% of the energy received by secondary consumer. So that's what we did here. 0.2 is nothing but 10%. 10%, how you write mathematically? 10 by 100. 10% of the energy received by secondary consumers. So if you calculate this, you will get secondary consumer had 2 joules of energy. So basically it is 10 times, it will be 10 times that of the tertiary. Based on the same logic, primary consumers will also have 10 times of this energy, that is 20 joule. And producers will have 10 times of this, that is 200 joules. So producers have 200 joules of energy. But the question was that how much energy was radiated by the sun? Okay, that we need to apply this law, that 1% of energy is only received by the producer. So 200 joule is nothing but 1% of the energy given out by sun. Again, same calculation you do, the energy given out by sun you will get as 20,000 joule. Okay, this is how you will solve. I hope you have understood now how we solved it. Thunderstorm and Manish, do you have any further doubt? Please do ask. Did you understand the numerical? Yes. Please comment in the chat box. Did you understand? Are things clear to you? We have simply applied percentage formula to find out. Okay, thank you, Thunderstorm. I'm glad that you understood. Fine then. So these were some important, yes, thank you, Manish. So these were some important questions from the biology section for your as a part of sample paper. So, and we have already discussed the important topics to study. So we have already done with sample paper 1 and 2 in science. Now tomorrow and day after tomorrow we have sample paper discussion for math. So please do attend these sessions at 7 PM tomorrow. And if you have any query, any doubt, you can just drop a comment on the videos, or we are going to come up with more sample papers. You can ask during that. So thank you very much for attending today's session. You will get all these papers and questions on our Practically app. So please do download it and enroll in the class 10th section so that you will get all the material. And thank you for watching. See you all in the next class.